because the American people sent a crowd of folks here to do the things that mattered, and we've partnered to do those. The gentleman from Illinois is one of those great partners. I'd be happy to yield.
Thank you so much. I want to thank my good friend from Georgia for hosting this hour. So important to talk about what really matters to people, our constituents, hardworking families who are just trying to make it through, to get by and have hope for a brighter future. Mr. Speaker, I rise tonight troubled over a recent email I received from a constituent of mine. Jessica from Lake in the Hills in Illinois wrote me with concern about her current economic condition. She's a single mother with 2 teenagers, but like many Americans, she recently lost her job amidst the slow economic recovery. Of course, she's greatly concerned about providing for her children now that her main source of income has dried up. As Gallup recently confirmed, many Americans like Jessica are having to spend more on items they have to buy and less on items they choose to buy. This mandatory spending is squeezing out everything else in their budget. The rising costs of basic necessities like groceries, gas, and utilities for middle-class families like Jessica's smothers them as the cost of day-to-day living goes up and up. At the end of the month, there is little left over for them to choose to buy something for their home, for their families, or for themselves. This is heartbreaking and frustrating because the House has passed legislation to lower energy prices, create jobs, improve work-life balance, and do many other things to help people. Energy prices are an ever-present concern for Americans who drive their kids to school, commute to their jobs, cool their homes, run their manufacturing plants, or harvest their crops. The House passed Lowering Gasoline Prices to Fuel in America That Works Act. And it would do just that, cut prices at the pump by opening new federal lands to energy development. The Small Business Capital Access and Jobs Preservation Act would grow Main Street jobs by reducing regulatory burdens on American businesses. The Working Families Flexibility Act would help workers better manage their work-life balances. That's especially crucial for families like Jessica, who are stretched thin between caring for their families and working just to earn a living. The House has also acted on behalf of veterans, and I'm so proud of this. When our servicemen and women return home, the last thing they should have to worry about is unemployment. It's our duty in Congress to ensure there are jobs available for our veterans. But the employer mandate in the President's health care law has discouraged many small businesses from hiring more workers at a time when our economy is still struggling to recover. H.R. 3474, the Hire More Heroes Act, is common sense legislation that relieves the employer mandate burden on businesses who want to hire veterans. It's just astounding to me that the Senate still refuses to take up this legislation that would help our veterans. Still, I do have hope. I have hope that we can work across the aisle to help address the problems of the middle class. That's what the American people sent us here to do. Just this month, the House and Senate passed and the President signed the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, H.R. 803. H.R. 803, or the Skills Act, which helps reform and modernize our federal jobs training programs. By 2022, our country will lack millions of skilled workers with degrees beyond high school, such as paralegals, welders, radiology technicians, and police officers. Federally funded job training programs help Americans of all working ages gain the knowledge and skills necessary to re-enter the workforce, retrain for new jobs, or increase their value to their current employer. When far more people in my home state of Illinois have given up looking for work and left the workforce than found new jobs, our communities need the tools necessary to match available jobs with available and trained workers. H.R. 803 will help put local workforce investment boards in the driver's seat to tailor their services to fill the local jobs of the 21st century. It also streamlines and a confusing maze of programs and ensures the business community's voice is heard, putting businesses above bureaucrats. At the same time, it ensures that we have strong accountability over the use of taxpayer dollars. H.R. 803 is a good example of when regular order is followed and both sides agree to talk and work out their differences, the House can pass important legislation. We've also passed the Permanent Internet Tax Freedom Act, a bill I co-sponsored that permanently prevents states and local governments from taxing internet services. Taxing the on-ramp to the internet is just bad policy. It hurts lower income families the most and penalizes Americans for communicating with family or looking for a job online. And again, this bill passed with strong bipartisan support. In the Science Committee, we recently passed the Ramey Act, which will help the strong manufacturing base we have in Illinois and others across the country. The bill creates a network of nationwide regional institutes, each specializing in the production of a unique technology, material, or process relevant to advanced manufacturing. Small and mid-sized manufacturers can expand their research and development capabilities and train an advanced manufacturing workforce. The Senate also introduced a companion bill, and I trust the Ramey Act will become law soon. When it does come down to it, I truly believe we can all agree on about 80% of the issues facing this nation. Building relationships and working on common goals can help us address the other 20% without being divisive. But where does this leave middle-class families right now? They're still finding their paychecks don't go as far as they used to go. Energy prices are still high, and groceries aren't getting any cheaper. More than 350 bills are stuck in the Senate. Many of those would help Americans get back on their feet again. We don't need political posturing. We need real solutions for hardworking individuals and families. Let's help families like Jessica's and get these bills passed through the Senate now. I yield back to my good friend from Georgia.
I thank my friend. It is exactly that commitment to working together to make a difference that I think folks long for in this place. And it's exactly what you have there in H.R. 803, the Workplace Innovation Act. It's true. That's one of our success stories. But you first came to the floor to support that in March of 2013. The reason we're able to call this a success is because the Senate finally got around to dealing with it in June of 2014. Over a year could have been making a difference in people's lives. I'm thrilled that now we are making that difference, but we wasted a year. And the family that you talked about, a family struggling to try to decide what tomorrow is going to look like, doesn't have a year to wait. The Internet Tax Freedom Bill you discussed, it's just come out of this body this summer. That is something the Senate could take up immediately. As you said, came out of here with wild bipartisan support. It could begin to make a difference tomorrow. Happy to yield to my friend.
The gentleman would yield. I agree with you. And families like Jessica's can't afford to wait any longer. They want help. They're not looking for something to be given to them. They're just looking for opportunity. They're looking for hope. And that's the legislation that we've passed, legislation like this that just makes sense. That as I travel around my district, it's the western suburbs of Chicago, as I travel around and talk to job creators, small businesses, entrepreneurs, people who are starting up small businesses or want to start up small businesses, I ask them over and over again, I'd love for them to hire 20 more people. But I ask, what would it take for you to hire one more person? Just one more person. And over again, it's common themes of deal with the things that are causing us to struggle. They're convinced they can continue to make a great product, provide a great service, serve their customers, beat all competition all throughout the world, if they can just have an opportunity, if government can get out of the way. Their fear is uncertainty that's coming out of Washington, D.C., uncertainty under high taxes, increase of taxes and different things, so much regulation that's out there, and now the high cost of health care, uncertainty there as well. We've taken some common sense steps, and as my good friend from Georgia has pointed out so well, so many of these votes have been strong bipartisan votes. People on both sides of the aisle working together, co-sponsors on both sides of the aisle, getting this done, oftentimes with well over 300 votes, and yet it languishes over in the Senate. 356 bills stuck in the Senate. It's about time that we get that moving. Families like Jessica's, so many other families across this nation want that help, want us to get out of the way, want the Senate to act, move things forward, and have that hope and opportunity once again. So I want to thank my good friend from Georgia, and I yield back.
I thank my friend. He's such a great leader. Bringing voices together is that skill set that sometimes this institution lacks, and he has it in spades.